to the entertainment Talking Sports.
What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. And in this video, I'm going to talk about the imposing force that has moved up draft charts. That, of course, being the offensive tackle out of Louisville, Mekhi Becton, as the NFL Combine is getting underway. And Mekhi Becton is making some noise, regarding the New York Giants. Now, of course, the New York Giants would probably be the best spot for Mekhi Becton to land financially. We have to keep that in mind. The Giants picked number 4 overall, and they are probably the first team that would be interested in potentially taking an offensive tackle. Becton and his agent are well aware of that. So he wants to, obviously you're talking millions of dollars. So, of course, he would like to end up with the New York Giants. But you still like hearing some of the things that he had to say, not just regarding the Giants, but his confidence as a whole. I'm also going to go into some of his measurements. Becton is undoubtedly the most imposing force of this year's offensive tackle class. And we know that Gettleman likes big molars, big hog mollies. Me personally, if the Giants were to trade down, this is a guy I would be significantly interested in. If we were able to trade down with the Raiders, for example, and get the 12 and 19 and a future second or a third round pick in this year's draft, I think that's the type of trade you're looking at if you were able to, orchestrate that trade. And it is possible. It's something that I will definitely be doing in the Gettleman project when I simulate trades, because I do think that the Raiders are a primetime target, being that they basically did not have any commitment to David Carr yesterday. So if Gruden is in love with the quarterback, they do have the 2 picks that they could couple to try to move up and jump some teams that need a quarterback. So I definitely think the Raiders are a potential team. And if the Giants were able to drop to 12 and Becton was still there, I think that is a perfect spot to take him. I do still think that he's a bit of a reach at number 4, but he may have the highest ceiling of any offensive lineman in this draft class. And if he goes out there tomorrow and has a great combine, which he thinks he's going to, I didn't pull up that quote, but he basically said he thinks he's going to impress a lot of people tomorrow. He may skyrocket up draft charts. And don't be shocked if the New York Giants take him on draft day. For a man of his size, this guy is quite nimble, and we're going to get into his measurements right now. But Becton really had a lot to say today at his media day. So here we go. Here is Becton out of Louisville, and these are his measurements compared to other offensive linemen. The top offensive tackles in this year's draft class. Becton measured in at 6'7" and 3/8 inches. He's 364 pounds. He's been recorded as high up to 375. I think he's dropped a couple of lbs for the combine. His arm length is 35 and 5/8 inches, which measured out to be the second longest among all these offensive linemen. Of course, having long arms is a big advantage, being that you want to be able to get separation on the pass rusher. Now, looking at the film and going over what several experts have said, that is one area of weakness. He needs to use his arms more often. Sometimes he doesn't get them out quickly enough, and defenders can take advantage of that. But that is definitely something with the proper coaching that Becton could use to his advantage. You look at all the other guys, the next highest guy in terms of weight is what, 320 pounds? I mean, these guys are babies compared to him. Andrew Thomas had the longest arms at 36 and 1/8, but he's by far the tallest and by far the biggest. And when you're that big, you don't need to move that much. It's very hard to get around a guy like that. But I think he definitely is pretty athletic for a man of his size. And let's get into some of the quotes of what he had to say. This off the mouth of Trevor Sakima on Twitter. Louisville offensive tackle Mekhi Becton on how he approaches blocking finishing. It's fun seeing a man on the ground. And if you watch this guy's highlights, for him, it is fun. He throws people down to the ground like they're rag dolls. Now we're going to get into some of the Giants quotes. And by the way, he did interview with the New York Jets. He does have an interview lined up with the New York Giants. I believe it is today. Mekhi Becton, I feel like I'm the best offensive tackle in this draft. You won't go wrong picking me. Simple as that. And there he is displaying some of the confidence. Now, I'm sure most guys are going to say that, but Mekhi Becton has been very outspoken. He's a guy that's soared up draft charts, and he seems to be the guy with the momentum behind him approaching the combine. Here's the next thing he had to say about New York. Mekhi Becton has not met with the Giants yet, but he expects to. Also, says he'd love to end up with the New York Giants. Just run behind me. He also met with the Jets yesterday. I love New York. And then finally, he had to say this. Mekhi Becton would love to play for the Giants. Why? The blue. Also, I just love the New York griminess. New York is just tough. I love New York. And like I said, read into that what you will. I'm not going to read too much into it. He knows that the New York Giants offer him the most potential money out of any team in this draft that could potentially take an offensive lineman. Nobody's jumping into the top 3 to take him. The first spot he could go was number 4. He knows that. All the offensive linemen are well aware of that. So he's going to love New York. And yeah, he may say he loves the blue, but the real reason he probably loves New York is the green. But regardless, he definitely is a guy that the New York Giants should have on their radar. Whether or not they trade down, we'll have to wait and see. But he's definitely in the top 3 or 4 offensive linemen right now, at least going into the combine in this year's draft at the tackle position. And it's obviously a huge need for the New York Giants. You heard Dave Gettleman say it yesterday. The question is, will he feel like Becton's his guy? As always, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.